Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, student. How are you today? Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Mamluatur and all of you can call me Miss Lulu. Okay, I'm a PLB student majoring in English education from STKIP PGRI Bangkalan, and right now I will replace your English teacher to teach you here. Okay, and before we go into the lesson, let's pray first so that the knowledge we can be useful to us. Pray, begin. Finish. Okay, thank you. Before we go into the material, may I ask you something? I hope there is one volunteer who is willing to explain a little of the material that your teacher gave you last week. Okay, you? Thank you. Give applause. And next, on this occasion, we will discuss about one type of reading text, namely descriptive text. And before explaining material about descriptive text, we must know the meaning of the word descriptive itself. Description means rule processing data into something that can be expressed clearly and precisely, the aim that it can be understood by people who do not experience it themselves. Then it can be concluded that descriptive text is a text that describes matter, for example, describing people, animal, and maybe places or object either in the same. And descriptive text also aims to explain, describe or express someone or an object. Okay, next, we must pay attention in describing the text and the general structure of descriptive text. In each genre of the English text has its own generic structure, including descriptive text. As with everything else, descriptive text must also be written in sequence. If you want to write a descriptive text, make sure the arrangement is like number 1 is identification. The identification section contains an introduction and an overview of a topic. Identification serves as an introduction to what we are describing, so reader and listener don't misunderstand. For example, what we describe is cat, but reader or listener actually misunderstand to be human. And number 2 is description. Okay, in this section contain the special characteristic or properties contained in object, people, animal, or place that you are describing. Now, let's look at the characteristic processed by descriptive text so that you are not confused. How to start writing descriptive text that is good and right. Descriptive text has several characteristics. Number 1 is using simple present tense. These tenses are used because in descriptive text we will explain a fact or truth contained in a thing, place, or person. And number 2, use many adjective words. The word adjective is used because in descriptive text we will describe the properties of an object, human being, place, or animal. And number 3, we will often encounter the word is or relating verb, conjunction verb in the descriptive tag, because is that leads to the explanation of the object, person, or animal that we are describing. And remember, descriptive tag only focus on explaining one object. Let's look the example of descriptive tag about place. Okay, Jember Regency. Okay, let's go to the explanation. The sample text is an example of descriptive tag because in the text it provides information about the object described, namely Jember Regency. In addition, the descriptive tag above also has structures and characteristics that are in accordance with the structure and characteristic presented by descriptive tags. The first is using simple present tense. In the example of the descriptive tag, all sentences use simple present tense. For example, in first paragraph, Jember is Regency and as Java. This is using simple present tense. And then Jember has a total area of 3,293.34 square kilometers. This is using present tense. Okay, the second is using adjective. There are relating verb is and has. And now the structure. In first paragraph is identification. In this section, the text introduces the reader to Jember Regency, which we will explain in detail in the next paragraph. And the second paragraph is description. This section contains explanation or description of Jember Regency by describing some information such as Jember Regency has a good place to visit, Jember Regency has an annual international fashion exhibition, and Jember Regency has a cultural acculturation called Pendalungan. Okay, that's all I can say. Do you understand? Okay, thank you. Good. So I emphasize again in describing tag, we must not just describe, we must pay attention to the generic structure. Okay, that's all the material today, and don't forget to keep practicing at home so that this material doesn't pass without meaning. Okay, and please prepare yourself for next week. We will learn about recount tag. Okay, thank you. See you next time, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.